So you've downloaded some plans from the internet and there's some custom pieces here that are no longer available. What do? That's what I'm going to cover in this episode of the Rocketry Workshop.
Welcome to Advanced Construction Videos, where we show you how to tackle rocketry building techniques and more. On our website, we sell kits, motors, building supplies, and electronics. So come and learn, shop, build, and fly when you visit us at apogeerockets.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Van Milligan from Apogee Components. I recently got a customer that downloaded some rocket plans off the internet like this one here, and there was some parts in the plans, and let me show you here on my computer, that he didn't know where to get, and it was a Balsa transition section and a nose cone. So what do in that situation when you can't get a part? Well, basically you're going to have to make it, and there's a couple of different ways, and I'll describe them in this video. And I think I'll also go through my process if I was building the plan. So the plan that the customer was building was an old plan called the Avenger, and it was a PDF file, and you can download this off the internet. But what do you do about that transition section and the nose cone? Well, as you can see here, I've reduplicated the rocket. And my process when I do anything is I use my number one tool. And my number one tool is this thing right here. This is my computer. I like to redraw everything into scale, 1-to-1 scale, so that I know how everything is going to work. The hard part here was, other than the transition and the nose cone, was the fins. Because what came in on the plans over here off to the side was just a drawing of the fins, although they weren't to scale. So how do you make them to scale? The one dimension that I know is this dimension here along the side, because that is, if you go down here, you can see that the fin, the root edge of the fin, is the same length as the body tube. And the plans tell you how long the body tube is, so that tells me the one dimension on the fins. And from that, you can scale the fins. And so what I did was I went into a drawing program, and what I use is called Adobe Illustrator, but you can use any drawing program that you want at all. You can even do this with a pencil and paper. You just redraw everything to scale. And so I redrew the fins so that I knew exactly how they were going to look. Then my next step was to put everything into RockSim. The nose cone and the transition section, I had to do some digging. I had to find out what this length was here. I know the diameter here and I know the diameter here from the plans, but I didn't know this length. So I had to go on the internet, search around for old Estes part numbers, and find out what the length were. And it was the same thing with the nose cone. So then I put them into RockSim, and from RockSim, what I did was I needed to recreate this. The original thing was in balsa wood, and I don't have balsa wood, although you can make it, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But I thought, well, I'll make this out of paper, just a transition out of paper, and put a tube coupler on the bottom, and I now have my transition. So in RockSim, you can export out a template, and what I did with that was I just exported it onto a piece of paper and cut it out. You can see here's my cutout, but it looks like this. A simple transition. We have a video on our website that shows you how to do this, so I'm not going to go through the process here, but you can actually see this, how to do it, and how to make that transition section, which is this right here. There are also a couple of other key components to this transition. Now this transition, there's no forward shoulder like there is here on the back end. On a balsa wood part, there would be that shoulder there. But what I did was I just put it over the tube, so the tube actually goes through the transition all the way down here to the bottom. By doing that, I know it's perfectly straight. So when I put it in the tube, I know absolutely it's going to be perfectly straight. And then I used a tube coupler on the bottom. And then to center everything up, I needed to create some centering rings, and I cut these, this one right here. So this goes over the outside of this tube, and it actually doesn't go into this tube, it goes into the coupler. So I had to make this special. I had to know the inside diameter of the coupler. Again, we have a video on how to cut your own centering rings, so you can watch that. You do have to measure that inside diameter of the coupler or get the dimensions off of the Apogee website, because we put all the dimensions that we have on our website. And then I also needed a paper disc to seal off the tube on this end, because I wanted this to be where the tube separates. And I also put in a tube, a little piece of Kevlar here as a place where I can attach my parachute and shock cord. So that's how I made that. Now the nose cone was a little bit more difficult. Again, in RockSim, I could approximate it as best as I could. And to make this, and I made this out of balsa wood, and I carved this by hand. There was no machine tools involved. Basically what I did was I started with a block of wood, and I didn't have a block, so I created a block. You can see right here, I just laminated a whole bunch of sheets of balsa wood together to build up the right thickness, so it's just a little bit bigger in diameter than the nose cone. And then from that, I printed out a template of the nose cone, and you can print out a template from RockSim. This is kind of what it looks like. And I basically glued that onto the balsa wood. Well, first I took a tube coupler, glued it to the bottom. Obviously I had to sand this smooth. And then I attached it and I just drew a line around it, and then cut with a knife or a saw, just, you know, kind of generally the shape of this. And then I used sandpaper and like my hobby knife to carve it. You know, it's easy to carve balsa wood. It carves really easy. It does take some practice. Don't expect your very first one that you carve to look as nice as this. And even this one, if you feel it, if you rotate it in your fingers, you can feel the high spots. It's not going to be perfect, but it's close enough to where I'd be proud to fly this in a rocket. And then you sand it smooth as you can. And to make sure that it fits nicely in the tube, I stick it in a tube, and then I do my carving and sanding, and I take my sanding tee, wrap some sandpaper around it, and I go like this to make sure that this edge is perfectly flush with the tube. So it looks really nice. You do the same thing, you just rotate it around, try to get it as almost, you know, perfectly circular as you can. As I said, it's not going to be perfect, but don't worry about that. Okay, so then, you know, then it's a matter of putting everything together. The rest of the rocket was easy to put together. This is a two-stage rocket, so I needed to make sure that my fins were perfectly aligned. And for that, I use, you know, a fin jig like this that you can get from Apogee. You don't have to. If they're a little bit crooked, don't worry about it. As long as they're straight on the tube, the rocket will probably fly just fine. Okay, so that is the old school method of doing things. Now the new school method, you know, the modern method, you know, what I always tell people is if you need a custom part, go out and get it 3D printed. So now if you're going to need a 3D printer, you're going to have to start in a CAD program. And again, I like to go draw everything all over again. So I drew the nose cone, and here's what my nose cone looks like. You can rotate it around, take a look through the bottom. And then from this, you just export out what they call an STL file, that's stereolithography. These are what you use, and you take to a company that does 3D printing, and they can print it for you, and then it's almost perfect. If you don't have a 3D printer company near you, check with your library. A lot of libraries now have what they call maker spaces, and basically they have tools and equipment that you can use for hardly any cost at all. And you can print up things. And I printed up a nose cone and a transition. Now these are in the raw form. They're pretty rough. I haven't sanded them yet. Then I did sand some here, and the surface is incredibly smooth, and it is as accurate as you're going to get. Now the cost of 3D printing, like if you take it down to your library, I bet you a piece like this, I've had similar things done in the past, and in 2019 when I've done a piece it was like 80 cents. So it's very affordable. The only downside, like I said, is you gotta have a CAD file. Here's the CAD file I made of this transition section. Let's see if I can rotate it around for you. I made it hollow with little holes in it, just so that it wouldn't be airtight. The way my printer works, it's a resin printer, so there's liquid. I had to get that liquid out from the inside of the transition, so it would drip out, and it dripped out for a couple of days because I did solid bulkheads on both sides. If I was doing this again in the future, I would do one side hollow so I could get it cleaned out like really quick. There's always post-processing that you have to do with 3D printed parts. You got to assume that. You're going to be sealing, sanding, making it smooth so that it looks nice. So when you get it done, the same rocket here, you know, almost identical. Let's see if I can put them together here so you can see what they look like. I would be happy to fly this one. I would be happy to fly this one. The only difference is because these are plastic, they're a little bit heavier, but it's not so much of a weight difference that it will fly just fine. So that is kind of my process of designing a rocket from plans. It's whether I'm doing it from scratch or whether I'm doing it from plans. I always start by drawing everything 1-to-1 scale. If you had CAD software, you could put it into there as well. And then with the RockSim file, then I can figure out what motors these are going to take. Now there's a lot more motors today than when this plan originally came out, and I'm not even sure when it came out, if it was in the 70s or the late 60s. Somebody can put a comment here on YouTube and let me know when this first came out. I don't know. But there's a lot more motors nowadays, so you need that RockSim file to find which motors you can fly with this particular kit. There's a new feature in RockSim 10 that if you're watching right now, we've discussed this in other previous videos. It's has a one-button click where you just click one button and it'll tell you dozens of motors that will work. You know, it's that fast. One other thing, the process of carving a nose cone, we do have a DVD on that process if you're interested in it. It's basically how to carve a nose cone from a balsa wood. And you can use sheets of balsa wood like I did to build up a block to make your nose cones. I could have done the same thing with the transition. With the transition, it's a little bit harder because I have two shoulders on it. But it can be done. So that was a lot of information. My name is Tim Van Milligan. If you like this video, leave a comment. If you have a suggestion on how we can make them better, you can also leave a comment on our YouTube channel. If you need your questions answered, come to the Apogee website. Our web address is www.apogeerockets.com. And so may the winds be light, may the skies be blue, may all your rockets fly straight and true.